Just one more hole in the road. They're everywhere.
We found that clip here in the BBC archives.
These holes are going to be very expensive.
More than 60 years later, and we're still having the exact same conversation.
Exasperating, isn't it?
Every year, new reports warn that our roads are getting worse. Potholes are multiplying.
Everybody is really up in arms about it.
It's getting more dangerous, and the bill to fix everything keeps getting bigger, which raises a straightforward question. Can we actually solve our pothole problem? A recent report suggests that the cost of fixing local roads in England and Wales would be about £18.6 billion. That seems like quite a lot of money. That kind of makes sense because the AA said that pothole-related call-outs across the UK were up 18% in January from the same time last year. It said that roads were only being resurfaced on average once every 97 years, and that almost 1 in 6 local roads had less than 5 years of structural life remaining. But what causes potholes to appear on our roads? It usually starts with a small crack in the surface. Rainwater seeps in and expands as it freezes. As the ice melts, more water gets in, repeating the process and weakening the surface of the road. Add cars and lorries driving over it, putting it under even more pressure. Eventually, enough pieces of the surface break away, and you end up with a pothole. And unless it gets fixed, it will get worse pretty quickly. So, that's how a pothole is formed, but how do we fix them?
I spoke to quite a few road experts. All of them think that the best way of doing it is what's called a hot lay. And that's where you kind of use steamed up bitumen and asphalt. That kind of repair can last for a significant period of time, 6 months, a year, longer. The one that they all had a problem with was what's called cold lay. And that's where it's not heated, you put in a bit of tarmac, pat it down and so on, and they can be ruined within a day. You know, if a car hits it in the wrong way, that's what happened to Peter the first time round.
By the way, Peter, he's a pothole, and Lawrence, who was just chatting with us, is a reporter for the BBC. Can you tell me about your investigation and all about Peter the pothole?
Oh, it started more than a year ago. And we had this idea about us trying to chase the life cycle, you know, from beginning to end of the ideally just a single pothole. With Peter, we managed to find that he had not only been fixed, but then it started to crumble away again. It's almost like being an archaeologist. You can kind of see down onto these different levels of repair. So it was a real story of just, you know, I suppose slightly over the state of our roads, but just seen through just one pothole.
In the end, Peter was fixed by resurfacing a whole section of the road. But that's expensive and doesn't always happen for every pothole. And what do you think Peter the pothole and other potholes that you've seen come and go tell us about the state of the roads?
It's a sign, according to the experts I've spoken, of really long-term sort of underinvestment in our roads. They're a sign of more vehicles on the road. They're a sign of heavier vehicles using the roads.
Do you think the situation has got worse, or do you think we're just seeing it more?
The truth is, I think probably technically we don't know, because it's only very recently that councils are being asked, you know, how many potholes have you come along and fixed? So we don't know. I think it would be sensible to assume that we have got more potholes. I think the road planning and so on, with, you know, the years and years of austerity, I think it has probably, you know, there's been less roadworks being done. The two main things that really wreak havoc on asphalt is kind of heat and then cold and wet. Welcome to Britain. You know, it's a place where it's wet, and then, you know, as we've had recently, sometimes it gets really hot. And then, you know, if it freezes as well, it's kind of almost like a perfect storm for a, you know, pothole formation.
Lawrence spent a whole year investigating Peter the pothole, and to me, that's quite a unique way of reporting on the story, because we journalists seem to have developed a little bit of a formula over the years. Cue cars driving through potholes, exasperated locals airing their grievances.
The potholes are, well, I think you need a Centurion tank for some of them.
It's horrible because you're bouncing around all over the place.
And sometimes the odd zany reporter getting stuck in. But today, things are looking a little bit different.
This pothole's crazy. This is mad, bro. I'm getting mad.
Highlight issue, I got to put my ducks in there. Putting them in.
There are people online taking pothole reporting into their own hands.
My name is Harry Smith-Haggett. I'm from Horsham, and, well, I'm also known as Pretty Potholes. Blackbridge Lane, the ones that the council refuse to come and fill.
Harry's videos have been viewed millions of times. The BBC even wrote an article about him. He said he was fed up with the state of the roads in his local area and wanted to do something about it.
There was one pothole on my road in Horsham which I was particularly frustrated with, so yeah, I went and I thought, what can I do that's creative and might make some people smile, and I decided to plant some plants in that pothole. In my hometown, I reckon since I started, I've done at least 300 potholes. Yeah, that's about right. And across the UK, I reckon we are pushing into the thousands. I have had zero response from the local council. To be honest with you, they must absolutely hate what I do. I'm calling them out in every video.
Harry has strong feelings on this. I reached out to West Sussex County Council for comment. They said, "We understand why people want to draw attention to the issue. However, we prioritise pothole repairs based on their severity and the safety risk they present, not on the level of publicity they receive." The council also said they strongly discourage people from attempting to repair potholes themselves. We ask residents to report potholes through our online reporting system and leave repairs to our trained highway teams. They added they continue to invest significantly in keeping the network safe and operational. So, if people are taking matters into their own hands, who is responsible for fixing the potholes?
When it's in kind of your normal localities, it's your local council. So it'll be the highways authority. So that'll either be, depending on where you live, if you've got a county council, it would be that. If you've got a unitary authority, it would be that. If they're potholes on sort of major roads like A roads or whatever, then it comes down to national highways to sort out.
You know, there's this myth that the roads in Europe are so much better. Like, is that true?
Nearly all the experts I've spoken to say yes in some countries, no in certain other countries. So the places that seem to do it best are Germany, France, Spain. They have a serious amount of investment into their roads on a scale that we just don't have. It's also probably worth mentioning that France in particular, it's like 2.5 times, I think, the size of the UK and about slightly less population. So actually their roads are a bit quieter as well. So I think that helps. And they also have a kind of very, very strict inspection regime as well, from what I hear. And that helps keep the roads really in a really, really good state in a way that, well, I think we're all a bit jealous of here.
So, what does the future hold? Should we be turning to technology to figure out our pothole problem?
The future of road inspection is going to be sitting with the automobile industry.
This is Professor Yanis Brolakis from Cambridge University. He leads a team investigating how technology and data could help improve roads across the UK.
Cars today are able to extract a huge amount of information. Tracks, potholes, patches, rutting, shoving, fallen street signs, damaged lane markings, and another 300 to 1,000 different attributes from the road as the cars drive ahead. The challenge they have is that although this is amazing information, there's nothing to do with it. So what we're trying to do is create the ingestion tools that can take all of that data from the car industry and bring it to the infrastructure industry, specifically to agencies like national highways and local councils, and help them update what we call the digital twin product. Take all this information and update the virtual road so that then decisions can be made on that basis. We then go a step further and try to help them using that virtual road to make automatic decisions for run-of-the-mill, everyday type of repairs.
But for Professor Brolakis and his team, spotting road damage is only one part of the challenge. They're also looking at ways technology could help carry out road repairs too.
One of the technologies we are developing involves a robotic van. Think of a simple van where we effectively drill a hole in the middle of the van and put in that hole a 3D printer. That printer has multiple heads able to solve each head a different kind of problem. And as a result, we can drive over a number of different problems at the same time and fix them all at the same time.
And some of the ideas they're working on sound more like science fiction.
One of the elements in the materials that they're using is their ability to heal themselves. In other words, the fixes, for example, the crack filler we're using or the pothole repair, has the kind of properties that would allow it, in the case of a future problem, to fix itself. At the same time, we're also adding other properties into our materials, such as self-sensing, the ability to identify its own problem and notify us when the problem exists before the problem gets worse.
The goal is to catch problems before they become bigger and more expensive to fix. And if the technology works as intended, it could dramatically reduce the number of potholes appearing in the first place.
I certainly can see a future without potholes. I'm not saying that because I'm optimistic. I'm saying that because once technology really reaches that stage where we can repair the potholes just as fast as the cars can detect those potholes, that means we will never even have potholes to begin with, because we will be fixing small cracks before they propagate. Therefore, we will never get to the stage where you have full-blown potholes.
The research Yanis and his team have been doing will still need lots of development before it can be implemented practically, but it sounds positive in theory. So maybe we will solve our pothole problem. For now though, thanks for watching.